every spring, the Prince of Autumn chooses a bride from the mortal realm. Every spring, her people whisper she'll be dead by fall. It has been like that for approximately 400 brides. When the Fey Prince first rode forth seeking a human woman to marry, no one knew to be wary. The bride's people celebrated. They marveled at the bounty of their Fey neighbors and coveted their wealth. They believed if the Fey Lord meant to choose a wife from among them, he must mean to share his abundance with them. No one imagined the prince would return a year later to demand another bride, refusing to disclose the fate of his first. 3 years after the first bride vanished, 5 of the maidens refused to gather for the choosing. That year, the prince did not select a bride. He returned to Fairy alone, and by daybreak, all 10 maidens had died of a mysterious, wasting illness. As if in mourning, the spring rains would not cease. The rivers overflowed their banks and flooded the muddy fields. The crops were planted late. Spring gave way to summer, but the sun seemed not to notice. The plants molded, the fruits and vegetables withered on sickened vines. What survived of the wheat was consumed by locusts. Hunger and disease stalked the villages. When frost came to spread his icy fingers over the darkened window panes, he was early. The snow immediately followed. Whole families were decimated, their once vibrant homes reduced to empty, lifeless shells. Those who survived did so by any means necessary, resorting to tactics they would never confess to later. As the spring air blew through the land the next year, the king of the mortal realm stood at the border of their lands, waiting to meet the Fey Prince. Once again, there would be no bride. The king's own daughter had perished the year before after defying the prince's summons. The human king appeared with a formidable army behind him, ready to defend his people and avenge his child. By sunrise, the once proud king lay defeated, surrounded by his fallen soldiers and 10 lifeless maidens. Blood stained the ground, and from it, there grew flowers. Fields and fields of red poppies. Poppies that would continue to bloom each spring after that, a silent but powerful reminder of what befell the king who refused the prince's choosing. The spring after that, there were hardly 10 women of the necessary age left to answer the call. Still, 10 assembled, a bride was selected, and the year that followed proved bounteous. The people fattened and gave thanks. The following spring, they remembered. All 10 women assembled again for the choosing. The first time I saw the prince was shortly after my parents died. I was curious, and the worst thing my child's mind could imagine had already happened to me. Unlike the other villagers, I did not hide as twilight approached. The staccato rhythm of horse hooves thundered against the silence of the deserted streets, but when the prince's coach turned the corner, passing into a shimmering beam of fading light, all but the bewitching beauty of his conveyance fell away from my eyes and observances. When he finally removed himself from the confines of the coach, it was with the air of a man who had few choices. Despite all the glittering grandeur surrounding him, it seemed the carriage served not as an instrument of freedom but in some way as his cage. My people say the prince is evil, but they say the same of me. Not because I've ever harmed or been a threat to them, but because they don't understand me. In all the many years of the prince's visitations, they've never sought to understand him either. Not once have they asked what causes him to come, whether it be of his own will or whether it be of somebody else's. We've never asked what we might do to help him make the visits stop. This morning, I received his summons. As many women before me, I'll go and report for inspection. If selected, I'll do what I must to make this madness end.